How's it going, everyone? Mask here, coming at you with some Eve Echoes today. Now, I know it's been a long time since I uploaded on this channel. I don't want to dwell on that, because I could go on for so long and just make this such a drawn-out intro. So we're going to scrap all that, and I'm just going to talk to you about what I have to show you today. So, I've really been enjoying this game. I'm an industry nut. This is my beautiful retriever here, and this game is just, it's gorgeous, and it runs absolutely beautiful. I was in my first large-scale war in nullsec just yesterday, maybe the day before. That's irrelevant because of when you might be watching this video. It was between Void and QC/C22, and I am reading those names because, well, they're like letters and numbers. But hey, I shoot rocks, so I don't really keep tabs on this kind of stuff. But I got some phenomenal footage of the war, and I gotta say, it was one of the most exhilarating times I've had in the game so far. So let's go ahead and check out that footage.
Now, I just wanted to clarify one thing real quick. I used the term war a lot in this video, but there certainly isn't a war. It was just a fantastic battle.
Now, wars in Eve. There's always some he said, she said, some feelings that get hurt. Why did this start? Why would two opposite parties decide to blow up billions upon billions of in-game currency? Well, it is content, and I gotta say, it is phenomenal content. I had the most fun I've had in this game. We have OA Omega, part of the French Federation. That's the FRA French Federation. And apparently there was a little bit of smack talk going on. Facebook, Reddit, YouTube. This federation had, or this alliance had claimed to have fought Void and won. And Void came and invaded their home space and attempted to pop their citadel and ran away. Well, this simply wasn't true. I mean, Void's never even ventured into this system before, yet alone on an offensive op. So Void decided to come and pay them a visit. If you're going to brag about having fought Void, then you should get a chance to fight Void. I mean, it's great content. We want to give it out and experience it too. So here we are, having made this wonderful maiden voyage across Eve, and let's take a look. This citadel has been relatively uncontested so far. We have a beautiful 169 people in local at the moment, and let's just make sure we get that money shot, because that's what we're here for. That citadel getting popped into reinforcements. There it is. So the home citadel gets popped into reinforcements, but props to QA and or OA and FRA. I think there was like QC and C22, a lot of numbers here. Real creativity when it comes to names. They really want, I don't know, they probably mean something. I just have no idea, so I shouldn't dwell on that too long. But there was massive forces being gathered to try to basically make it an extremely miserable time trying to get out of this space. But I am just so excited to share with you how this unfolds. So let's take a look. Obviously, we're going to need to group up now. The Citadel offense has been achieved. So here we are, setting up wonderfully on this gate. A lot of fights happen at gates. Actually, interdiction bubbles are really what has finally allowed us to have really good fights. Fights to the death, because you can't just fleet warp away the second stuff starts getting bad. You can only distribute points so effectively across a fleet to really make sure you're going to take people down. So after the successful reinforcing of the citadel, we have Void here grouping on the gate, on the gate coming into the citadel system, getting a few kills as people sort of drift their way through this jump gate, but no real action and no real damage has been done so far. If you can put a value on putting a citadel into reinforcements, but I don't even think I could do that, because realistically, anybody could anybody can kind of sneak their way in and pop the shields on your citadel. It only takes about 15 minutes at most, as long as you're damage capping it the whole time, and it's the real fight that comes afterwards, because you have to consistently attack that citadel once a day for a few days in a row in order to kill it. And if you can make your enemy pay with ships and debris and pain and misery, then they're probably not going to come back and try to do it again. But I'm going to skip ahead and just get us into the next piece of action here. And now we see Void has landed through the gate, but still cloaked. And the first few people starting to get uncloaked now. The enemy only able to really tell how many units have flown through that gate by local jumping up 160 ships. If we take a quick pause, just a second back here, we can get a gauge of what the initial encountered numbers are. So Void just jumped about 150 ships through the gate, landing on about 46 cruisers, 10 frigates, I think. Bear with me here. When I did my initial recap, being a miner that shoots rocks, I'm talking to my my friends here. I'm like, okay, guys, we have 46 ships, or we have 46 houses, 10 triangles, 11 houses with a line underneath them, and 1 triangle with a line underneath it. It was good stuff. Lots of laughs. I have been educated on the ship types, but admittedly, they haven't stuck quite yet, and I don't care to pull up a reference sheet. All right. So, though we checked the numbers there, we had about 40, 50, 60, mid-60s for enemy ships landing this fleet. So Void has made an absolutely phenomenal. This is the first touch as far as damage goes. Really, I don't count anyone that randomly pops through a gate and gets killed while we were on the other side. But this is going to be where Void takes a very big lead in damage done early on in this encounter. Now I have to apologize here, as my main focus was still having an impact on this fight myself, and less so having a good camera angle, making sure I wasn't lagging, and really putting effort into recording good content. Taking a look at the numbers, our original ship count of 69 for the neutrals in this immediate battle is starting to take quite a hit. We're at 42 cruisers. We've lost 10 battle cruisers there now, about 51. It looks like 42, 7, 49. And we're down about 10 ships on the neutral side. And yeah, there's going to be some very good focus fire going through focusing the list down from the most expensive ships, the highest DPS ones, and just trying to get a comfortable footing where we're able to survive through a lot of this damage. Now it looks like Blue here is doing a really good job at staying anchored. The neutrals have gotten a decent anchor point just at the north side of the bubble here. And the drones, it's the drones that are just going absolutely crazy. You can see them just flying back and forth constantly. Now, as the battle keeps unfolding here, you can keep an eye on the numbers. There was originally 69 neutral ships when the gate was jumped, and it looks like we're down to about 32 cruisers. The cruisers are dropping rapidly here, 32, but 37 ships with the frigates there, only 9 battle cruisers left. This was an extremely good start to this day of events for Void here. Now, kudos if you're keeping an eye on local. Local just jumped an absolutely terrifying amount. I can't really let you see local easily here, but if I grab my face and go whoop, there's local. We're now at 300. Originally it was 225 when Void jumped the gate, so there is some serious reinforcements on their way right now. An entire fleet. It looks like we're down to we're under 50 ships now. There's been about 20 ships destroyed. I don't have a very good way of checking on the actual blue ships at the moment, but the offensive op, we'll go over numbers later. That's less interesting right now. So local has now jumped to 314, and there was some serious UI issues that started happening around now. Lots of reports. I do believe right here, I just focus fired Sebastian J, and I'm currently locked on to my own, I know the name, it's my own teammate that's now getting shot. And I was even asked, yo, Mask, why were you shooting me? I'm like, bro, I have no idea, man. I didn't even know what the symbols meant in this fight. So I got really freaked out. I'm like, why am I attacking my own friend? They're neutral. And I literally checked my corpse standing right now. Now, I do believe I crashed shortly after checking my corpse standing, but I got myself back up here. Local has now spiked to 330 ships. There's 244 neutral tags on here, which means we have less than 100. The UI is super glitched. You can't even take that. That doesn't even add up in my mind. But Void, this is probably the most successful play here made by Void, with extremely strong anchoring. You can see. I need to rewatch this. This is just one of the most beautiful moments of the entire fight all day. This is going to be the difference in actual fleet on fleet fights come the end of this video. this moment right here is the defining difference as to which side truly did more fleet-on-fleet damage. I will get to that, but a beautiful call by the fleet commander on Void's side to stay solidly anchored up and just burn out of that bubble. So Void has now left the bubble. Their whole fleet, very well anchored, has now cleared the enemy bubble and is putting space between them and the enemy. And as you can see, the call to follow them wasn't really there. There's very, very spread out here on the neutral side. I would argue extremely poor anchoring here. This is a minefield of ships due to Void's extremely strong anchoring. It was very easy for the fleet commander to penetrate that bubble, get the fleet out. Now the goal, they've showed up, they've put the Citadel into reinforcements, had a beautiful firefight on the gate here. Tons and tons of damage, decent kill report and kill death reports that I'll kind of just touch on numbers as we go, just to sort of accent the conversation. But unfortunately, I got focused down here myself. I was, like I said, for the most part here to just get a really good angle of this fight. And this is where my footage of the offense is going to end. Now, I do believe I crash and I'm able to get up another client, and I know the large majority of the story. Now, I'm going to have to pause because unfortunately after I died I lost footage on the offense, but at that point Void's fleet was down about 45 ships when the retreat was called, because local had spiked basically over 2 times our numbers. And on the way home, unfortunately, there was a little bit of a piloting error. I do believe there was a misclick fleet warp that warped one of our 3 fleets and cost about another $1.5 billion to $2 billion in damage, which ended up being, actually I think it was $1.2 billion in damage. So the fleet v fleet fight on the gate ended up being about $5 billion in losses for Void and approximately $12 billion in kill mails, with another $1.5 billion, let's say, lost on the retreat on the way out, which was done very well. Kudos, extremely well executed escape back out of this hostile zone. But it's not over. This is where this was fun. I had a lot of fun on offense. We got in there, we put the Citadel into reinforcements. We had a wonderful battle on the gate on the way out that we got really lucky and jumped a solid fleet of about 50 ships that got decimated, but the reinforcements were just way too much to handle. But the home defense. So this is where stuff gets really, really exciting. We were followed home with by a massive fleet who came and invaded our own home space. Now, what you're about to see here is the fight in our home system that's going to break out. But a little pretext leading into this, there was, we had a fleet on defense in our, what I would call one of our home systems, but it wasn't that big of a fleet. It was only about 30 to 40 ships. And the enemy invading fleet was approximately 115 to 130, so they seriously thought they had us outnumbered, that we'd lost way too many ships on the way home, pilots were scattered, but little did they know our entire main force was forming 4 to 5 jumps out, and this just played out to be one of the most magnificent things. Now, unfortunately, I didn't hit record to see the absolute initial engagement here again, which was incredible. You can see neutrals warping into this pod here still. They were inside this system, grouped up somewhere, and we warped about 30 to 40 of our ships, which looked like our entire defense fleet in system, to the gate. They responded by warping their entire fleet onto them at the gate, which was outnumbering them about 3 to 1. There was about 100 plus neutrals. We only had a fleet of 30, but little did they know there was our entire main defense fleet on the other side of this gate in the next system that warped through the gate, right on top of them, immediately landing at 0. The bubbles go up and we have a firefight. Just trying to grab quick numbers off the right before the damage gets too big here. There's over 80 cruisers, like 89 cruisers, 9 frigates, 2 frigates with a line underneath. That must be a destroyer. And 7 battle cruisers left in this fight here. Grab some quick numbers from the beginning to see how big those were to start with. Earliest footage I have, about 84 cruisers, 7 battle cruisers, 2 destroyers, 9 frigates. But more reinforcements are warping their way in as I'm saying this, so it's hard to truly follow. But this just unfolds It's just an absolute firefight at this point. I got a really good aerial in a pod here, which was great. So I managed to not crash this fight and not get killed, so I could keeping my eye on it. 345 in local right now. This is it. This is an absolute lock. Bubbles everywhere. Nobody's getting out. And this is the second half of this fight that was just glorious. So everyone is. I can't even explain it. This is the for lack of to be perfectly honest. This game is if you zoom in and try to watch the action, it's designed for mobile. Your device effing implodes. So it's not, as you can see, I just crashed. Literally, this is the video. So I said I managed to not crash. That was a lie. I super crashed. And of course, I crashed. So we're coming back. I just pulled up a little corp card here. Can we get commands for attacks in local? You gotta love that fleet discipline. Oh man. But taking a quick look at the numbers and how they've unfolded so far in the fight, there's now 73 cruisers, it looks like. My UI was shifted here really frustratingly. I didn't realize it till I think it's soon that I managed to actually turn it over, but 70 cruisers, about 6 frigates left, looks like 1 destroyer, and very few battle cruisers. I think I might be finally adjusting my screen. There we go. The action is in frame. 37 pods. The pod count keeps going up. 70 cruisers here. And like I'm saying, this game, it's not high. I wouldn't even describe it high action in the way that you think of action. Like flashy, this, that, back and forth. Oh my gosh, so cool. But I've never been so just intensely into it, sweating, excited. What is going on? Oh my god, like holy crap. Billions upon billions upon billions of in-game currency exploding right now. 68 cruisers left. We got 37 pods and rising. 6 frigates. All of the battle cruisers are dust. Very, very good target focus from Void's side. Comms were beautiful. Huge shout out to Pied Piper, our wonderful fleet commander and leader. And no, I'm not kissing your butt for a promotion. I don't want anything else on my plate. What wonderful little scroll through the capsule list, because you just like to make sure you can see who died. There was a lot of smack talk in local from the. I gotta look it up. Sorry, I don't. The names are just from C22. There was a ton of smack talk. Unfortunate show of non-professionalism that disappointed me. Void kept it extremely classy. One of the reasons. It's like my motto on the channel, stay classy, fam. I couldn't associate myself with people that don't play that way. I don't have any room for the toxicity, the trash talk. It's just sad. But battle's still unfolding. We got 64 cruisers, 5 frigates left, 1 destroyer left, it looks like. And this is the moment. I'm in voice chat. I got this beautiful aerial view. And because I was in a pod this time, because my ship got blown up on offense, I wasn't going to fly my retriever into this battle, so I got to make some cool callouts. I'm like, right now, I click it. I'm like, guys, there are 60 cruisers, 5 frigates left, and I believe I go and check the friendly tab fairly soon to get a count. Void is still up over 100 ships. This battle is over, but this is where the biggest difference in this fight comes. The fleet on fleet action. There is 56 ships left, 60 ships left. Void managed to escape in this exact scenario. We are in the home system. We're in the home system. Defense. We got offense action. Void managed to escape after getting finally outnumbered and starting to lose the fight and save 70 to 80 ships, only dropping about 40 in the battle. That's why the offensive numbers ended up being about 6 billion in losses, 1.5 being on the retreat. The actual fight was about 5 billion in losses and 12 billion in damage. This fight you're watching in front of you here was even more absolutely landslided damage to losses. Now, in the end of this entire war, the damage was extremely similar on both sides, extremely well fought, content all around, which I absolutely love. Huge kudos to QC and C22 for coming and just having a round 2. This is the most fun I've ever had. I'm not here to smack talk. Really, my goal is just to show off and maybe give a glimpse of what had me just so excited. Cruisers getting just locked down, and it imploded right now. Wrecks building up everywhere. Pod counts going up. I had another set of eyes in the next system over, and I will admit I was control Ving 07 on repeat every time a pod jumped the gate and started their way home. Great feeling. But this fleet fight here, I don't actually have any good numbers on the damage on both sides. I only have, we took a total count while we were flying home, try to get a good idea on how the offense went. Unfortunately, and I guess it's a good time to kind of bring this in, before this fleet flight broke out, we actually had a Macarial, which really broke. We broke doctrine. Our doctrine most certainly does not involve Macarials. Sorry, Piper, if that's OPSEC to tell them. We do not have Macarials in our doctrine. Chill, okay. We had someone undock a Macarial and unfortunately lose it. There is an update that happened to the game. You cannot dock anymore after taking damage, which was an extremely abusable mechanic, because you could come out with a really tanky ship, blow a few ships out, dock, heal yourself up to full. That has changed. So do not get caught the same way thinking you can do that and unfortunately die. So we had an entire Macarial get blapped out of the sky and a Cinnaball get blapped out of the sky in the home system before this fleet fight broke out. So that was about 10 billion right there. And I think we also had an unapproved Dramiel death. Just in ships you're not supposed to bring to an op like this. So that was about 10 billion in damage that was not the fleet on fleet fights. But because of it, the final damage, and I'm just going to pull up. Now this report is missing anything that happened. We had, I believe, on the defense, as most people would on defense, have a few allies show up. So we're missing the losses and the kill mails from the allies. However, those will be greatly favored on Void's side, because Void decimated this fleet fight. As we can see, there's now only about 5 ships left, 2 cruisers, 3 frigates, and nobody got out of this disruption bubble alive. Did I take try to get a really good count of how many ships were in there at the very beginning? I'm going to pop us back one video here real quick. So if we're taking a look right here, we got about 85 cruisers, 5 frigates, 85, no, it's 9, 85, we'll call it 94, 8 battle cruisers, bringing us over 100, so about, let's just call it 100. I do remember throwing the number about 113 around, which was the initial count in system for neutral ships, and absolutely nobody got out alive. The bubbles were up. There was a beautiful call made to start focusing actually this little snippet back here looks like we're getting, oh no, that's 14 destroyers, 66 cruisers and 17 frigates left here. But the damage keeps going, and now you can see the beautiful capsule self-destruct messages as people don't want to have to bubble their way out. Basically the 2 massive fleet on fleet fights, the biggest difference being nobody got out of Void's home system alive. 113 ships, give or take, in this current ship graveyard that you're looking at. And yeah, I take a quick look at the numbers on our side. Now, nobody ever gets the numbers right. The loss, we all know, there's those people that don't report their loss reports because they're ashamed of it or they're hiding it. They're more excited to post kill reports. Counting can be a little off. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, due to the Macarial kill, the Cinnaball kill, and the Daredevil kill, the losses ended up being extremely, extremely close. I have numbers that I was asked to report, so bear with me and I will grab those up right now. Now I have here friendly losses of 25.6 billion ISK, friendly kills of 30.3 billion ISK, enemy ships lost at 181, friendly ships lost at 142, enemy citadels put into reinforcement 1, friendly citadels put into reinforcement 0. And that would be sort of our summary of the battle. Now, absolutely, I would say without a doubt, although I do believe in our record keeping, we have some honest people, and the people doing the counting I trust wholeheartedly. That's a 4 billion ISK difference in a 60 billion ISK war. That difference to me is basically evil. It's even. Equal 100%. If you take away the Cinnaball and the Macarial and the Dramiel, the non-doctrine approved ship losses in this fight, the numbers are almost 2-1. Void then drops down to about 14 billion in losses in fleet-on-fleet battles to about 30 million in damage. Absolutely phenomenally fought, and good fights all around. Honestly, incredible content. This has had me even more glued to the game, having so much fun with it. And I hope I showed off this fight well enough that you enjoyed watching it. And thank you so much for watching this. Please, any suggestions you can possibly think of, I would love to hear them down in the comments below. This was my first time ever really trying to kind of capture a battle. And of course, I belong to one side of this battle. I'm going to be at least a little bit biased. Big shout out to QC and C22. Thank you so much for the content. Hope you're having a great time, as great of a time rebuilding as we are. Like I said, damage was very, very similar on both sides. But thanks so much for watching, and until next time, smash that subscribe button and stay classy.